Is the cryptocurrency bear market over? That's what everybody wants to know. Personally, I think that we could go for another 6 to 8 months, sort of trading sideways, sort of oscillating around. But I feel like a base is building. A lot of this stuff is burned off to where it lost, 85 to 95% of its value. Now, some of the stuff will die out. If you have like an ERC20 token that essentially the project got nothing done and they didn't make the decision to jump to something like the EOS.IO software that can actually sort of perform the tasks that they were trying to supposedly kind of develop, you've probably got a big problem. I've seen projects over the course of the last 2 or 3 years where you just look at it and you're like, why are they releasing these newsletters and saying that there's this progress? Because you could just kind of see right through it. One of them in particular was the Acacia project, which around the time that Steem came out, the Acacia project was pretending that they were going to have a social media platform built on the Ethereum network. And that's just simply, it can't handle the capacity. So for the last three plus years, they've in a way just kind of lied to themselves or lied to kind of any of the people involved, and were saying that they were doing this. To me, it was just nonsensical. So a lot of these projects that said they were going to build on the Steem Media token, a lot of them that said they were going to build on Ethereum, in my mind personally, they should have just either forked Steem and used the code base from Steem, or they should have created a BitShares asset. Some people did that. Or they should, now that the EOS.IO software is out and the code base is getting stronger, they should have just built on the EOS.IO software. Now, obviously if there's a lot of coins that are trying to do something that's kind of so repetitive, like, they're trying to be an anonymity coin, and they were kind of late to the punch and didn't have the marketing budget or something like that, it's really, really hard for them to gain momentum and to retain momentum. So a lot of these coins are still going to burn off. They're still going to have issues. Developers are going to need money. They're going to continue to maybe sell off their stake in it, head for higher ground, whether that be like Monero, Litecoin, Bitcoin, whatever, EOS, Ethereum even. Coinbase is showing favoritism towards the Ethereum ecosystem. They continue to do so. So being the largest fiat gateway in the world will likely kind of, as this thing turns around and we see kind of a base being built and we got kind of level ground, and as more money kind of pours back into crypto potentially, then Ethereum could kind of gain a stronghold again. But ultimately, for me, and again, I'm not trying to get too tribal, I'm just going off the facts. Ethereum never was able to do what it was purported to do. I mean, just plain and simple. It's been out since 2014, 2015, and all this talk of having these decentralized applications that are going to run on it, for the most part, never materialized, and it's not going to happen anytime soon because they're going to have to overhaul the entire thing. They can't just upgrade what's going on right now. So that's a little bit tough, and like Dan Larimer said, it would be like trying to switch out the engine of a car while it's running down the road. So things have life cycles. A lot of people aren't going to like me saying this, but I think that Steem has one more kind of initial push, or maybe a couple more pushes where they go through kind of a boom and bust cycle, and essentially I think that Steem's going to fall by the wayside. The reason being because EOS.IO is more progressed in its life cycle with half-second blocks, and Steem and BitShares have 3-second blocks. So I just think that those will eventually fall down lower, and you don't want to get caught on a sinking ship. So my strategy with something like Steem is actually get my cost basis down, continue to blog and grow, get more of it. But then when we hit a surge, when it goes parabolic, really be shaving off the top of it and don't stay into that and gravitate to higher ground. That's my personal opinion. But these crypto assets go through life cycles. There was a time, if you go back, you'll see that NXT was actually very high on the CoinMarketCap list, and over time it has lost ground to other projects. And NXT was an important part of the crypto ecosystem. You know, it was something that was important. You could run ICOs on it and stuff, but ultimately Ethereum was then further progressed in its life cycle and ended up being a project that more people gravitated to, and had more success as a crowdfunding platform. So always be looking for kind of that next thing, but there's some of this stuff that solidifies its future and doesn't have necessarily as much downward sell pressure typically through the life cycle of it, stuff like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero. And then there's going to be these platform projects that you have to ask yourself, well, where would there become down pressure? Well, with Ethereum, it was all these ICOs raising all these funds for stuff that they a lot of times couldn't kind of produce on, and we're just making up what they were going to do. And then ultimately, when it came to sell the proceeds of that fundraising activity, ultimately it crashes the price of Ethereum. So anyway, I think that we could burn off for another 6 to 8 months. We could get a little pop here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't necessarily get over 7,000 or 8,000 as far as a Bitcoin price by the end of the year. And I'm not worried about that. My situation is that I've planned it out to keep injecting capital over the next 1.5, 2 years, and I'll be able to survive that. So anyway, what do you guys think? Is this bear market over? Sentiment seems to have changed some. But anyway, leave your comments below and follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Steemit. See you guys later.